If you're trying to make sense of the US housing market right now, you are definitely not alone. So today, we are going to decode all the conflicting signals to figure out what is really going on.
I mean, if you follow the headlines, it feels like you're getting whiplash, right? One day the market's on fire, the next it's grinding to a halt. So, which one is it? What's the real story here? Well, the wild thing is, based on all the latest national data from August 2025, the answer is both. Both are happening at the exact same time. The market is sending out totally contradictory signals, and we are here to break them down. All right, first up, let's just look at these national numbers. They seem to be pulling in completely opposite directions, and it's creating a real sense of confusion.
So on one hand, this is great news for buyers. You have more choices out there than you've had in a long time. Active listings are up almost 21% from last year. But here's the twist. That growth, it's actually been slowing down for 3 straight months. The momentum is kind of fizzling out.
And get this for a contradiction. While the total number of homes for sale is up, fewer people are actually putting their homes on the market. New listings have dropped for 4 months in a row. It really suggests that unless you have to move, you're staying put.
We're also seeing prices just kind of holding steady. Nationally, they're hovering around that $430,000 mark. But, and this is a big but, homes are taking a lot longer to sell. We're talking an average of 60 days now, which is a full week longer than last year. So yeah, prices are stable, but things are moving at a snail's pace.
Now, these national averages are interesting, but honestly, they hide the real story. And the real story is this massive divide that's basically splitting the country's housing market in two.
This is where you can really see that split I'm talking about. Just look at the difference in inventory recovery here. The South and the West are actually above their pre-pandemic levels. Buyers there have options. But then you look at the Northeast and the Midwest, and they're still dealing with some serious shortages. It's two completely different worlds.
So to really get a feel for what this divergence looks like on the ground, let's zoom in on a market that just perfectly captures this whole rebalancing act: Phoenix, Arizona.
So right now in Phoenix, they have what's called 5.2 months of housing supply. Now that number puts it smack dab in what all the experts call a balanced market. You know, it's that sweet spot, not really favoring buyers or sellers.
But even inside that so-called balanced market, the signals are all over the place. Take the suburb of Mesa, for instance. The average sale price is up a little bit. Great for sellers, right? But then look at the days on market. It's jumped from 48 days to 80 days. That is a huge change.
A local agent on the ground really hits on the why behind these numbers. She says that with more options to choose from, buyers just aren't desperate anymore. In her words, they're being really picky, and they're waiting for that perfect, move-in ready house. No projects.
So, you add it all up. Homes sitting on the market longer, buyers getting super picky, it all points to one major conclusion. The power dynamic is shifting. After years of a crazy seller's market, buyers are finally getting some of that control back.
And the proof of this power shift is everywhere. You've got huge national builders like Lennar and D.R. Horton offering discounts of up to $28,000 just to move houses. At the same time, we're seeing a 57% year-over-year jump in what are called D listings. That's when frustrated sellers just give up and pull their homes off the market completely.
So this creates a whole new playbook. For buyers, the new rule is be selective. Take your time, don't be afraid to negotiate. But for sellers, the message is crystal clear. You have got to price your home correctly from day one, and you have to be ready to compete with brand new, discounted homes from the builders.
Okay, so how do we actually measure this rebalancing? To really tie all these threads together, let's talk about the single most important metric for understanding the balance of power in any housing market.
You know, we keep throwing around these terms, buyer's market, seller's market, but how do we actually measure it? Well, it turns out it all comes down to one really simple but incredibly powerful metric that just cuts through all the noise.
And that metric is called months of supply. It's a really straightforward idea. It's just how long it would take to sell every single home that's currently for sale at the pace things are selling today.
And here's the industry rule of thumb. If a market has less than 4 months of supply, sellers have the upper hand. If it has more than 6 months, buyers are in the driver's seat. And that sweet spot right in the middle, from 4 to 6 months, well, that's what we call a balanced market.
This one chart explains everything. It's exactly why you can't talk about one U.S. housing market. It just doesn't exist. It's a collection of dozens of local markets. I mean, look at Miami. It's a clear buyer's market with almost 10 months of supply. Then you have Phoenix, our case study, balanced right at 5.2. And on the other extreme, you have Milwaukee, which is still a very strong seller's market with less than 3 months of supply.
So while that national average might be sitting perfectly at the center of this housing seesaw, the conditions where you actually live could be tipping dramatically one way or the other. It really is all local.
And as we look ahead to the fall, there are a few wild cards that could tip the scales all over again. Mortgage rates have started to trend down, and that could definitely boost demand. In places like Phoenix, you've got the return of the winter snowbird buyers, which could heat things up. But that trend of picky buyers, yeah, that's not going anywhere.
Which, of course, leaves us with the big question. With interest rates starting to fall, is this great rebalancing about to give way to another period of rapid change? For right now, it really feels like the market is on a knife's edge.